prejudice, but if you want a good waffle with a bear on it, you go ahead and send a man to make that waffle. I filled that thing up to the brim, and guess what? I toasted it like 30 seconds longer than the machine told me to. Guess what I have? The perfect waffle. Look at that grizzly bear. I don't play games, man, when it comes to waffles. You could call me the Waffle King, or Waffle House, or Waffle Dad. Just saying. Good morning, guys. It is a very cloudy day where I'm at. There's where I just had breakfast, and I had this humongous waffle with a bear on it. It was absolutely delicious. All of this cloud cover is burnt away by like 11 or 12, and it's a beautiful sunny day, so it looks like rain, but it actually isn't rain. And today we are in Psalm 104, and I'm just reading. Let's just look at verse 4. It says this: He makes his messengers winds, his ministers a flaming fire. First, we're talking about angels and the different things that God uses those angels for. For you and I, they're ministering angels. They come, they minister. We see them ministering to Jesus when he was fasting 40 days and 40 nights. Here, this is the destructive power of an angel, their fierceness. And listen to this. He makes his messengers, which are the angels, likened unto wind. Have you ever seen an F5 tornado? Not personally, because most people who see that, they don't talk about it. But that the power, the raw strength of that tornado, the wind, that's what it's talking about. It can really rend rocks. We see a picture of Elijah coming out of the cave and watching the power of God with fire coming down out of the sky. On top of the fire coming down out of the sky, there was an earthquake, and then on top of that, there was a huge whirlwind, like a tornado, and it says it shredded the rocks. It ripped them from the face of the mountain, which is just crazy. And so God is saying that he uses his messengers sometimes in that way, as a flaming fire. Have you ever seen a house fire? Sometimes it's just beyond. You know, you can watch the fire trucks pull out these huge hoses and try to get that fire out. Sometimes they can, sometimes they can't. So God is describing the power of his creation. Now remember, the angels were made before you and I, and they are higher right now than you and I, meaning as far as stance, we are below the angels. Obviously, you can't fight an angel and win, but positionally, they're above us. But one day, after we die as a Christian, or we have been born again and we live out our days, again, the book of Job tells us how many days that we live out. What ends up taking place is positionally we are above the angels. Some commentaries, some great theologians, PhDs, they think this is what ticked off Satan, that God discussed this with Satan and it just drove Satan crazy, that God would make mere humans. I hear some ducks. You guys hear them? I hear them. I'm sorry you can't hear them. But it just drove them mad, because you remember Satan, there they are over there. What we know about the Bible is it drove Satan crazy to think of a mere human, you know, as finite as we are, and you're going to put that above me. Satan thought he was equal to God, and to think of a human, you know, as greater than he one day after a human died and was glorified, really drove him bonkers. And really, the defeating blow was Jesus, because he lived a perfect life in the flesh, fulfilling the law of God, and he defeated Satan on the cross once and for all. Satan didn't understand it. Satan didn't see it. Satan thought he won by defeating Jesus, by Jesus being crucified. Satan didn't understand the fullness of what was taking place. Now, for you and I, how do we apply these truths? God sends his ministering angels to protect us. That's one of their duties. They safeguard us because Satan hates humanity for the mere fact that humanity defeated him, okay? And the mere fact that humanity will be above him. Obviously not those people, okay, that are in hell, but even the people that are in hell have been given a glorified body. So when Satan goes to hell and a person with a glorified body goes to hell, that person with the glorified body, they will be much higher in position and rank than he will be in hell. Everyone thinks that Satan will run hell. No, he won't run hell, because there will be humans, okay, who sinned against God, and positionally they will be above him. Isn't that crazy? So not only did you lose once on Calvary, but you're going to lose for eternity with humans being over you while he's in hell suffering the torments of the damned. I can't believe it, man. But I tell you what, I love this text, and I love the fact that God just shows us plainly and clearly. Now, if we were to continue going, and let's see if I can find Hebrews. I turned there a second ago. I think it's Hebrews 1, verse 1:7. Says this. Of the angels, he says, he makes his angels winds and his ministers a flame of fire. So the writer of Hebrews is basically quoting that psalm. And again, he's telling us of the power of God's creation to do what God says. When God sends his angels out, okay, they take care of business. When we look at the night before the Exodus, what you had was the angel of the Lord with his sword drawn, and the firstborn of all of the Egyptians and the Hebrews, they died if they didn't have the blood covering on the door, okay, on the top of the door and the sides of the door. We have the blood covering and the Holy Spirit sealing us unto the day of redemption. So when the angelic world looks at you, what they're going to see is the seal of the Holy Spirit. If you're a Christian, if you've been born again, if you've prayed a prayer unto God, given your life to the Lord, you have the seal of the Holy Spirit. From an angelic point, every angelic being that looks on you can see the down payment of God the Father through the Spirit upon your life. You're off limits. Guys, is that not awesome? You're totally off limits. So it's like, let's piss around with someone else. We have to leave this one alone. And I tell you what, I'm just very grateful. We don't worship angels, but we do thank God for them. Thank God for the Son. Thank God for his Spirit. And just realize that if we even had an inkling of how in control God is of everything, we would relax. We would simply relax. The things that we go through are the things that God allows us to go through, ordains us to go through, decrees us to go through. So it builds us up, so it makes us strong, so we develop Christ-like character. All right, guys, I hope this blessed you. I am still waking up needing a gallon of coffee. I think we're going to go to Gatlinburg today, go see the sights, relax. They used to have a restaurant there. It was very inexpensive called The Chicken Guy, Guy Fieri's, but they closed that down. So now I need cheap eats in Gatlinburg in about 3 hours. And it's really hard. Yesterday we went and bought a bunch of lunch meats at Food City, and we made subs and snuck them into the water park. You're like, Matt, did you really? Yeah, we did. You're like, Matt, how did you sneak them in? You know, you're like, you know, a camel. All right, I'm going in here. I'm gonna show you how I snuck them in. Where's that bag? I have a special bag here. Here we go. Okay, here's how I did it, guys. Up here, you put your towels, okay? Here's all your towels. But down here is a hidden compartment right through here, and it's lined. So I put some ice packs in there, some Gatorades in there, and 4 subs, and about 10 packs of chips. Look, it's pretty big, and that's how I snuck them in. Matt, you're smarter than the average bear. Well, I don't know if I'd say that. Oh, bear. Have a wonderful day. Don't forget, I think this is a good idea. So guys, this is what it looks like at night. Just look at that. Look at the moon. Today was such a beautiful day. It was just absolutely gorgeous today, and it's a full moon. I think Saturday. Tomorrow's Friday, so. And then here's your pool. Just gorgeous.
Literally gorgeous. This is more gorgeous. Oh, yeah, baby.